happens anyway. Okay, but so this is August 2nd. We're actually in week 4. We're going to deviate a little bit from having the week 4 agenda. I'm going to do the two PowerPoint presentations tonight, but I'm really going to give you guys kind of an update. So a lot of the philosophy of this is you can be as passive or aggressive as you want, or active I think that's the right word. And if you want to be a lender, or if you're just being a real estate investor, but if you're lending money, we can, you're brand new, we'll try to pair you up with people and try to have the advisory board actually kind of guide you and send you like, here's the deals and all that. You can say yes or no. A lot of people are looking to put in 5,000, 10,000, 20, 50, or even 100, whatever they're looking to put in. We also don't want people to go all in. Like if you got $20,000, we don't want you to go in your first 5, 10 loans. We don't go all in. Start smaller, get experience, get the systems and processes down, consult with the more experienced people, the advisory board, which is 7 people that I've kind of different backgrounds. Some are brokers, some are a couple are lenders, and we have obviously Erica Walker's 25 years in the lending space experience, 10 years at 10 years at Wells Fargo, and she worked in risk management and exceptions, which is if you're working exceptions at Wells Fargo, the C-suite officers know who you are, because exceptions people at any of those banks, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, they're basically like they overrule a lot of decisions. Underwriters and stuff are under them, so they're like really senior decision makers. They're not quite in the C-suite or the VPs and stuff, but they're right up there with them, just like under them. So we got a very experienced board. So if you're going to lend money, like I said, I'm going to ask you not to go all in. If you got $20,000, if you got 50, break it up into 10,000 segments. And these guys will work with you, and you guys want to hook up. And when these guys like Willie and the people that are brokering, hook up with them and see what you can do to help them. If you got 10,000 or 20,000, you can hook up with them. They can help. They can work with you on helping their clients. And so I want to kind of have some teams of some guys that are EMD gap lenders only, working with the guys that are the people that are brokering. That way they've got people they can go to and say, hey, I've got 3 or 4 deals going on. I need 5,000, I need 10,000 or whatever. Then we're going to work on making sure that they bring you that deal. You can say yes or no. But that way you've got somebody experienced and they know the numbers. They've been working with their client. And for people that are watching this video that don't know, really, a private money broker does not get paid until the closing. They are 100% on contingency. For those of you who will say, hey, no brokers, and they're also direct lenders, I'm telling you, the private money broker, if you're a real estate investor, especially if you're new or newer, is your best friend. I mean, they're of anybody, because they can shop you. They have 8 to 10 lenders most times. They know multiple products, multiple programs. And with our group, all of our people can actually probably, somebody wants to do a slow flip, you're talking to, you can go to Matt Gray and he can help you. And if Matt needs some help, he can go to Erica, or he can go to Justin or somebody. Justin's really good at doing cold calling, and a lot of, he uses a lot of technology in his business, kind of like a boiler room, but he runs that out of himself. But there's different skill sets in every one of our associates, and every one of our lenders has a different tolerance. You have a different risk tolerance. Like I said, if you came in right now and said, I want to take $100,000 and turn it into, we're not going to let you. We're gonna do what we do in segments. And I'm saying that most of these are going to be like in and out. If they're going to be, we want you to loan the money and basically get paid back to, from the closing with your return. And we're seeing a lot of deals where EMD lenders are asking or getting 25 and even 50%. And I'm saying, okay, I don't have a problem with that. If that's what you want to do, if you want to charge them 50%, I'm putting everything in at 10 to 20% as far as what we're going to be teaching, just because you can change the numbers on your own. For everything that we're going to be talking about, do 10 or, do a smaller number. You can make a lot of money doing that, and you're going to get a lot more business, because people are going to come to you instead of paying 50%. They're going to come to you if you're only charging 20 or less. They're going to come to you and then, so what we're doing with the EMD gap is we're going to build a client base, because you guys can go anywhere you want to get clients. All the groups, and you can find it. But we're going to build a client base in the EMD and gap group. and I'm gonna try to get about, my goal is to have about 1,000 people. We'll have about 100 associates by the time we're done. Not every associate's a lender. We might have 50 and then 50 that aren't. So we'll try to pair up, a lender, associate who's a lender with one who's not, who can kind of be their ambassador and kind of work with them. And also, they're looking for money as well. And then we try to put those just about 10 of the members from the EMD and GAP group. That way there's people that can guide them and work with them and kind of, hey, and then they can go to the guys that have 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, and they can tap, that money and make sure, it's a good deal. So that's what we do on Mondays for those people who are watching tonight. Monday nights is really going to be it's still just, it's basically running that group. And so the 5:30 session on Monday night is basically people can come in and we'll be able to come in and talk to the EMD lenders, the brokers and stuff, and actually present deals, talk to them face to face. Earlier when we're doing the onboarding at 3 p.m., that we'll be just basically doing a rundown, and I'll ask if associates to come in and sign up and register like everybody else and come in and kind of talk about the group and introduce themselves. Because I want this group where it's all face to face, and guys, people don't do that. Everything seems to be like, hey, I'm going to send a text, I'm going to send a message, I'm going to send an email. You don't get to know the people, and that's what we want. They will say, like, the people know, like, they know and like you and trust you that way. I think honestly, what if you're a perfect lender, guys? What if the perfect lender is in Ohio and you're in Arizona? You may not meet them. You're never going to meet them unless you meet in a virtual situation like this. So what we're trying to create is we got a lot of lenders across the country. We got a lot of EMD lenders, people that are, and some people have never thought about doing that. They're like, well, I got $20,000. How can I, you're probably not going to be able to take $20,000 and do a lot of stuff in real estate, but you can wholesale. But rather than doing that, why don't you just multiply your money by lending it? And because if you lend it, you're also going to learn all the underwriting. You're going to learn all the deal analysis. That's going to help you tremendously with your own investing, whether you're flipping, you're buying rental properties, you're doing multifamily syndications, you're doing anything like that. You're going to get the numbers dialed in. And numbers don't lie. We have all the analyzers and calculators. You can download them. So I want to just encourage people to think about that. You don't have to put a lot of money in 5,000, 10,000. If you got that available, guys, we'll put it to work and you actually get those returns. You wire the title company, you're not wiring anybody else unless, closing agents, sometimes attorneys, and they're wiring it back to you. And there's a direction of pay. And you'll have like an agreement, with the borrower, and they'll sign it, you'll sign it, and then they'll do the direction of pay. We'll do a HUD, most of the big lenders like the Vizias and Kogos, and I'm going to do 2 presentations tonight. Most of the big lenders have transaction coordinators to do a lot of the paperwork. So we're going to make sure, obviously, you're wiring the money. They know that your money's incoming. It'll be on the HUD one, and then the outgoing money that's coming back to you is going to be on the HUD one, and that's going to show your return as well. So you loan $5,000, maybe you get $6,000 back. And what we talk about doing is like a 4-week cycle, break it, whatever money you have into 4 weeks. When, week 1 becomes your week 5, because it takes 3 or 4 weeks, you got to commit to closings in 30 days, 4 or 5 weeks out, commit that. And then you get in that cycle once a week, once a week, once a week. Eventually you do that over 12 weeks. And then basically you build up that additional ROI, that interest. You could actually then take that and add that to the principal the next time. Instead of 10,000, you're doing 20,000. No, you shouldn't really do it from a credit card. It's I mean, it depends on the card though, really. I don't know. Willie, have you ever seen that? I haven't seen that.
In what?
EMD being paid from a credit card.
You probably have to cash it out some kind of way.
I think because people can cancel credit cards. I don't know. I mean, I've never had one, but I did
I was
250
gonna say you could probably do a cash advance, but
Yeah,
the
but then
limit's
it'd be-
generally lower.
Yeah, but then your cash advance would become cash. I mean, that's probably at your bank level, not at, then you still got to wire it, because everything we do
Yeah,
with title
yeah.
companies is wiring. So yeah, I mean, we can research that, but I've never heard one. And 6 years, 250 deals, I've never had anybody pay with. I mean, you can pay other things in your transactions, not really in the closing. I mean, it's almost got to be cash coming from somewhere. And I don't think most of the lenders, I don't think will recognize like a credit card, just because I think they're the same way. you could then cancel on it or something like that. Someone, so I don't know. I would say no. We'll research it before we come up with an answer, but I don't believe so.
Sounds like
And
a hard.
yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I'll research it, but I'm pretty much gonna say it's probably a hard no, because it's like I just see there's too much risk. They don't like risks, and they're gonna turn something down if it's risky. And you guys, if you guys are letting your own money, you also want to do that. And if you're being passive, you're gonna put a little bit of trust in these guys that are on the board. They're gonna be kind of like, hey, this is a solid deal, because they're probably the broker on the deal with the Vizio or with Kogo or somebody or Rock. And so somebody's gonna come off and they've got a stake in it a little bit, because they're gonna get a broker fee off of it. So if you're totally passive, and it's cool to be totally passive. That's why I put the board in place, is basically these guys can make sure that people are stand up. We can get the deals out to the people that we know have money. We're going to start doing a weekly a poll, a poll of all the people that are EMD lenders that have money, and say how much capital do we have. Because that way we'll know how much is and we're going to try to do like a schedule like 4, 5, 6 weeks out. We know what's coming up, so we know how much capital can be committed, and then we'll do all the paperwork. We're going to start doing that 2 weeks from tonight. We'll start actually going through the paperwork tonight. I'm doing these 2 presentations next week. I'm doing some very base paperwork for everybody, and then we'll start doing how to do the EMD contracts and stuff. And I'm uploading the EMD, the actual contract this weekend, with the 2 forms of deed of trust and 2 promissory notes and some other paperwork. We're going to teach all that to you guys. And then the board, and the guys on the board have seen paperwork. Anybody that's been brokering, they've seen the paperwork. They know what their lenders are requiring that they're broken for. We talk a lot about borrower's checklist. We're going to make a very thorough borrower's checklist. So thorough, you're not going to need everything that's going to be on that checklist for every deal. But we're going to try to teach it from the perspective of, there are certain things that you have to have in your documents folder that pertains to you. And I'm saying anybody that's borrowing money, you're going to have a certain set of things that are going to be required by almost every lender. They're going to want to see 3 months of bank statements. So you're always going to make sure you're consistently, if you have June and July and August, then all of a sudden you're into September, you get to October, then you're going to want to have July, August, and September. You're always going to want to make sure you have that next bank statement. You're also going to want to make sure, if you've got everything's current. If you got an LLC, you make sure you've got your periodic report. If you're 3 years old, if you incorporated 3 years ago, or you did your LLC 3 years ago, make sure you've got your 2 periodic reports. I go to the Colorado Secretary of State's office for this couple I have here. I can get it off the website. It's obviously a little different in Wyoming, because in all my LLCs in Wyoming, I don't show up on the state anywhere. And that's the beauty of Wyoming. And Doris is on. We had a conversation today on the phone about Wyoming. So because she's trying to get her her LLC and then her LLC in Pennsylvania and tie them together, so that way she can do EMD lending and all that. So there's a lot of situations, guys, where we're gonna show you a borrower's checklist, and you're gonna be like, there's a lot of stuff on there. Well, yeah, but if you have that base in your documents folder, you have those base items that pertain to you. That's what we call your credibility package. That is going to be necessary for almost every lender. There's going to be 4 or 5, 6 things. You're also going to want to do an executive summary. When you talk about your business, it's not an executive summary pertaining to that deal. You're still going to have to do some kind of executive summary. But executive summary is only 4 or 5 paragraphs, and it's like just introducing yourself to that and all. And you obviously want to have an elevator pitch. We talked about that last week. You're going to want to have, if you don't have experience and you're brand new, you're going to want to have something else going for you. And that what that is education. And what that is in here is showing up. And these guys that are brokering, they go to Vizio, and I mean, Willie goes to Rock or somebody, he can kind of vouch for you in a way and say, hey, they're in there doing the group. They know what they're doing, because I posted a couple things today about experience versus credit. And I want you guys to use those. Everybody that's listening, that's watching, use those in those guides. Use those in those scenarios. If somebody's got a 600 credit score and they've got no flips, then look at that. That's what a lot of lenders are looking at. Not every lender. I mean, every lender is different, and everybody that's brokering or direct to a lender or is a lender is going to have their term sheets, their products, their programs, and they're going to be different. I'm talking about just as a learning perspective, kind of understand that somebody with a 520 credit score is probably going to have a difficulty getting, if they get financed, they're going to be like 16, 15, 16%. So we want you to kind of go off of a base and try to be helpful. And if you are an EMD gap in transaction, like I said, your best friend is going to be the associates who broker and who are lenders for the bigger deal, the first position one. You're going to be in second position now. You're not going to be. You're obviously not 90% of the time. You're not going to be on the deal past closing. There are going to be some situations, and you're going to know ahead of time because you're going to agree to it. You'll be like, okay, this is going to be 6 months. I got to put this $10,000 in for 6 months. You know, you might have another $40,000 that's going through those what I call the fast and furious, the weekly ones, or you know whatever. But if you have to commit to something longer, you got to say yes. And you know, obviously, like I said, the whole idea of advisory board is to kind of provide some input and oversight. Then all the people that are private money brokers and lenders in our group are gonna, you know, it's in their best interest. It's their vested interest to get good deals for you because they're gonna, you know, if somebody needs $10,000 to close that deal, you know, they're gonna know who in the group is an EMD lender and they can get the money for that deal. So that's gonna close a lot more deals. So I'm pretty, you know, like I said, I think we're gonna build this pretty exciting. And for anybody that's watching, there's a few people that are considering coming in. I think I mean, this is going to be taken off really, really strong. I think around September 1st. I think my goal is to be 100% live somewhere between September 1st and end of September for the public, at least to be able to access. And we're going to have a submission process and all that. And then we're going to bring them into the EMD and GAP group. So right now, as of tonight, you guys could do a deal, you know, with associate to associate. We got a lot of people ready to do deals. They can broker deals and all that. I want to go sometime. I want to go, you know, before we go to the public. I want to make sure that all the people that are, you know, get knowledgeable and you know, get to meet people and the kind of, you know, almost like formulate a team. You know, really get 2 or 3 people that are EMD gap lenders that you can work with, you know, that you know they got, hey, somebody's got 10,000, somebody's got 20,000. That's going to help your clients, you know, tremendously. And if we can bring them into the group, also consider guys that I am raising the price to it's going to be 1,000 September 1st, and I'm going to and if you bring somebody in as a referral, I'm going to pay you $400 cash. I'm going to Venmo it to you or Cash App to you, or we'll apply it to like Privy. You know, you get a couple people in there, but you know, you get one person. Basically, you just took care of. You just basically, you know, I basically bought your membership back as far as the money goes. And then you guys can stack up as many as you want. We're gonna go, you know, and then as far as EMD and Gap Group will be $100 because I just want to get people in. I don't want to scare them off, and then I'll pay it, you know, 50. And we'll apply it to Privy. So if you want Privy, you get 2 or 3 people in. Hell, I can keep you Privy for a year and all that stuff, which you're gonna want anyway. So those are kind of just some incentives because we've been talking about raising the price for a while. People have told us that, you know, hey, you need to do more. I know Pace is doing like 3,000 or something. I think we're totally different than his group. But I think we're going to be more hands-on, more you know, really smaller, trying to just, you know, get 100, 200 people. And then maybe, like I said, I'm going to cap it at about 1,000 for EMD and GAP, but I want to really help people and I want it to be newbie friendly. It has to be friendly for new people. We don't want to judge people. We don't want to tear them down, tear their deals down. Find 2 or 3 scenarios that work for them. Maybe this scenario doesn't work, that one does. So I don't know what's going on with this delay still. I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to try to do these presentations, and those guys that have been with me for a while know that it's still kind of challenging for me to do these. But I'm going to try to do a couple of presentations real quick. See if we get. So it kind of takes me a second to kind of get into it. So give me 1 second while I try to get to it. Like I said, it's on a delay, and I don't know why. So it's loading. So I'm going to do try to do a broker presentation real quick about, you know, on Power. It's going to be on PDF, but it's actually was done on PowerPoint, and then I'm going to do one on the logical lending. So let me give 1 second. It takes me a couple of seconds to get this going. So sorry, it takes me usually it's like a little, just a stick. And if they And if what we can't get it to work for some reason, because I don't, like I said, I don't know what this delay is, then I'll actually just do one later and post it to you, myself and send it to you guys and post it. But I think it's gonna be, it looks like it's coming up now. Can you guys see it? Okay, cool. Let me get it real quick. Yeah, because if I can't see it, I don't know what's going on. Is it? I may not be able to do it on this. I may have to do it list. Like it's pausing it, so I don't know what's going on. It's Zoom's acting up, guys, so I apologize for it. Okay. Give me 1 second, I'm trying to get it for you. Like I said, if not, I'm gonna just make up my own video and I'll post it for you guys. But I really want to do these like some weird stuff. So. Are you guys able to see it?
Yeah. You
Okay,
got the broker presentation.
yeah, and I'm not able to see it. It's just slow for me because I'm on that delay. Okay, now it's loading for me. So sorry guys, this is something I just technical. I'm gonna go ahead and minimize my screen. Okay, so now I can see it. So note about this sample. So we're gonna talk about fast track to funding. This is obviously the disclaimer. You guys can read it. You've seen it all. I don't like. So fast track to funding, what every investor needs to know about private money. So obviously I got another disclaimer. And then today's goal, and I'm sorry, I don't know why it's like I said, it's just like, oh, there it is, it's clear now, is to help you fund more deals in more places so you get paid more often. And so that would that be beneficial for everyone here? So how to get most out of this presentation, you can take notes. You'll also be able to watch the video later again on on a replay. We'll post it tonight. I'll post it. Decide on your specific action points and be attentive and present. And on completion, take immediate and decisive action. So I'm teaching you, this is the broker presentation. This is how brokering works. And then I'm going to do one on lending and so how the lenders make decisions, which should help you guys have a base understanding. Considering when you look at you look at Kogo, Vizio, One, Lima One, Ground Floor, Rock, all them, they have a lot of people making the decisions. So here you go. When you're confident enough to approach every seller of real estate, knowing that you are a real estate investor backed by millions of dollars of purchasing power. In the case of your broker, obviously if you're an EMD lender and all that stuff, you're going to be working with brokers and other people who work with like Rock. Rock is billions of dollars. They've loaned out $8 billion. So what is a private money mortgage? It's a capital lent by private citizens or companies to the United States. Usually has shorter terms and a clearly defined repayment schedule. So terms for these types of loans will vary from lender to lender and will depend upon the experience level of the investor, as well as length of the investor's relationship with the particular lender. So in the files tab, you'll find two forms. One is experience of real estate owned, one is experience of real estate sold. You can actually download those and you can kind of see, because you see that matrix I loaded today, if you go credit versus experience, if you have a lot of experience, you have a little bit, your credit, it's kind of like the scales of justice when you guys see that with the scales, you kind of you want to be at like, when you got 5 deals of experience and your credit score is like 700, you're gold. I mean, there's no problem. And most of the lenders we work with still do a soft pull. They want to tier you. They want to see that, hey, you can even file bankruptcy as long as it's done, as long as it's discharged, as a company, even as an LLC. They just want to make sure that people are paying their bills and there's like, don't pull the credit and it's like 18, everything's negative, and they don't look at medical. Matter of fact, a lot of states are not even letting, they're not even putting stuff on credit reports for medical bills anymore. So terms, like I said, it's you want to have relationships. So we're going to talk about a few guys. This is Steve. He's buying a house to fix up and resell for a profit. because of the nature of the deal, Steve can't get money from a banking institution. So what's he going to do? He's going to go to private money. You guys are in all the real estate groups. You know this. That's what people are looking for, private money. And you guys will see there's a lot of argument out there, private money versus hard money. And you guys will see NPLA and the NPLA conference for Leonard Rosen, Matt Rosen are on the same page as the AAPL. So NPLA is National Private Lenders Association, and they sponsor the 3 conferences a year. It used to be known as the Pitbull Conference. I was a sponsor there in 2019. I'll be a sponsor there all three of them next year. Probably won't make it to the one on October, but because I'm trying to get you guys all ramped up. But I'll be there in 3 times, and they're on the same page as far as they're trying to stop the term hard money. They're trying to get people just to go, it's private money because it's all private. Really, I mean, even if it's a little institutional money, it's still private money. So you're going to see arguments on that. You'll see me start probably half of them on the internet, to be honest, because I'm really 100% behind what Leonard and Matt are doing with NPLA. So like I said, it's National Private Lenders Association. AAPL is American Association of Private Lenders. There's a third one out there as well. So Steve's paying 100,000 for a house he can resell for 175. Keep in mind, guys, now that I'm posting these matrices and these guides, start putting in your head scenarios, get the loan calculators and the analyzers, start running scenarios and start seeing, how you can determine ARV and how it affects the loans and stuff. And it's pretty, when people bring up a deal to you, you need to run them, you need to make sure their numbers are right before you take it to a lender. If it's your money, you obviously want to know that they know what they're doing. If they're bringing a deal and they need $10,000 of your money and they're going through Vizio for the first position loan, you're going to want to know they know what they're doing, because Vizio may turn that deal down, and you've blocked out that $10,000 going in week 3 of your 4-week cycle, and now that deal is not going to close because the numbers are up. So Steve has $35,000 in cash. He needs to borrow the rest. He needs to borrow, $65,000. So he's going to pay the premium. She's going to be in first position, obviously, and she'll get a relatively high return. So obviously 175, the purchase price. And you guys can start, factoring this in your head, 65%, you got the loan to values, you got ARVs. You guys can start just coming up with your own scenarios and start looking at the guides when I do when I post the examples, because some of them are wrong, and so you guys will start catching them. You want to catch the ones that are bad, and that's where you want to work with people. Because even if you are just loaning people EMD money yourself, like I said, it's your money. You want to make sure that deal goes through. And if you know there's not going to be a first position lender, then you're going to want to pass, on it. So the down payment is 35,000. He has that. He's borrowing 65,000. The after repair loan to value is 37%. That's actually pretty decent. The annual rate is 9%. Guys, you won't see 9% right these days. You'll see, you might see 10, but you're going to most likely see 11 to 16 on average on most of these deals. The monthly payment's going to be interest only for 12 months at $487. Linda's going to make $5,850 interest, which is pretty good for one deal. If you got money, if you got 65,000, if you build your EMD gap money up to about $500,000, guys, you can be making $50,000 to $100,000 off of long-term deals too. You can start, funding a few deals there, here and there. You can make a lot of money doing that. But you guys don't want to be at 9%. So you're going to want to come up, obviously, if you're an EMD gap lender, what you're going to loan. And like I said, you want to be at more than 10%. You may want to be at 20. I'm just asking people not to go to 50, because I'm seeing a lot of people like, oh, what's 50%? You can have a little bit if it's a close, if they got a deal and it's a little bit more closer to closing, something fell apart. Yeah, you can charge a little bit more of a premium, because obviously, it's that sign that says their emergency isn't your emergency. So you can charge them a little bit more for that, but you want to be somewhere between 10 and 20%. So 12 months, Steve sells the house for 175. Obviously, closing costs can vary, but generally about 10% is kind of just off the top of your head. Can be a little bit different. You never know. Minus repair costs, 15 grand, and telling you're not going to see 15 grand a lot these days. Less the cost of money, 5 months times 845 is $4,225. He pays off $67,600. And the reimbursement of down payment. So where that comes into, you're asking who reimburses. If you are a real estate investor, you want to basically reimburse yourself on any money you put in after your sale. because then you got your net profit and your net both sides. So you always want to have, that's when you want to have your LLC, and we'll talk about LLCs later, but in another segment, but you want to have a separate LLC where your money goes and you reimburse yourself. So lend your money, lend money to yourself out of your LLC, you know, that way it's you can create a paper trail that way. And so lend money to yourself and then reimburse yourself. And so it's a win-win everything. So guys, here's the funding. When we talk about you guys, you know, being EMD lenders, however you have your money, if you have it capital, liquid capital, you in savings, or you have it SDIRA. So they talk about home equity, CDs, stocks, commodities, precious metals, hedge funds, and foreign exchange courtesies, or a portfolio. You're not going to see a lot of Forex, and you're not going to see hedge funds. And you guys see this is one of my pet peeves. Everybody's like, where are my hedge fund buyers? Hedge funds aren't doing on this level. I mean, there are some cases where maybe somebody, a contact at a hedge fund might be, because they have a lot of employees who are multimillionaires. The average hedge fund analyst, and there's a couple positions there, but a lot of the hedge fund people themselves will make 7 figures. So you may get somebody at a hedge fund who's an employee, or an analyst or something like that invest, but you're not going to see, like, they're not going to use a lot of the lower end, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but you're not going to see them working with people that are fix and flippers. If they're going to be doing single family or anything like that, they're going to be buying in bulk, and they have software. So now you're the private money broker. So keep in mind, if you're an EMD gap transaction lender only, or a real estate investor, the private money broker is your best friend, because they're a partner that's going to they're going to connect the client to the first position lender. If you're EMD gap transaction, you are the second position lender until the close. In some cases, like I said earlier, I will recap often, you will be the you may be in long term, you may be in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. You'll always, that in advance, you sign it, you agree to do the money, so you know what the situation is, what the and it is interest only. In those cases, instead of the title company paying you, you will actually get paid by a servicing company. We'll talk about that later. Your number one source, it's unending source of capital, guys. You got Rock, $8 billion they've loaned out, Kogo, Vizio, all of them have they've loaned out billions. But then you start thinking about now our EMG gap and transaction lending group. I just loose off my head, we're probably around $2.5 million right now that we could actually put in play. My goal is to get $5 to $10 million together by the end of the year. And you guys keep your money. Nothing ever comes to anywhere. You don't send anywhere. You don't pull it. It's your money. It stays in your account. You basically wire the money. It comes back to that account. Nothing goes to anybody. So you are complete control. If anybody's watching on this, that is to answer a question. You are in complete control of your money, of your capital at all times. So you are completely control of the process. I mean, obviously you work with a broker, and they'll know what the situation is. They'll make sure you're on top of things. Getting into the transaction coordinator, every one of these major first position lenders is going to have a processor, an underwriter, and a transaction coordinator. You're never going to deal with an underwriter unless there's a problem. You'll always deal with the processor. Then once the underwriter's approved it, you don't deal with the processor anymore. And then, then it moves to the transaction coordinator. They're the ones who set up they set up everything. They set up the closing, the title. They basically do the HUD one. They do all that stuff. So we'll go through the HUD one next week. So, this is strategic partners all over the United States and even the world. We have Helena McDonald in Australia, and she can legally broker private money in the United States. She has her LLC in Wyoming, and she's in Melbourne, Australia. And we have another associate who's in Pakistan. So you can do this around the world, and you can do it virtually, and you can do it passive. You can just do it, you work with the people that are brokers, you partner with them, they're going to bring you deals, they're going to send you the deals. You say yes, you can do it passively. You don't need to be a lot of time commitment. You loan $5,000, $10,000. The broker, like I said earlier, and I've said a couple of times, the brokers in our group are your best friend if you're an EMD and gap and transaction lender only. So you're a matchmaker between funds and deals if you are a broker. It's absolutely secure, gives you complete control, gives you funding without traditional bank considerations. So like I said, wealth is not determined by the amount of money you have, rather by the number of assets you control. And so we'll get down. Private money is now the only source for real estate investment funding, to be honest. I mean, literally, people aren't getting institutional money, especially banks now. You guys remember back in March when the banks were collapsing? You know, most of them were tied to crypto. Private money allows you to buy a property in a down economy. I mean, yeah, the only thing is maybe COVID was one that wrecked the real estate industry, and that's basically, and it could be somebody may have a different opinion because of their situation. Maybe they were able to, you know, they had the relationships and stuff. For a lot of people, it wrecked it. But other than that, in a down economy, you can still make it work. Obviously, sometimes in a down economy, you get access to more properties because more people get in trouble. And I always ask people to kind of have a little bit of a respect factor for these people are, you know, I don't like a lot of wholesaling tactics, like, and probably 90% of the wholesalers are not doing it right. You know, they should do people right. People are in a distressed situation for sometimes things that aren't in their control. They could have lost their job. That, you know, they could have had a family member die, so now all of a sudden it's in probate. So we kind of want to kind of maybe, you know, we don't want to go and, you know, totally gouge people and get properties that. And you guys use Privy. We'll talk about Privy. You guys have heard me talk about it before. You can get on market properties for 35 to 40% of ARV, under 50%. Benson will show you guys how. I'll put the link in. Anybody who hasn't been on Privy, I'll put the link in. You guys can go. They have a YouTube. He has a lot of YouTube videos, so you can watch him actually work. And you know, if you guys bring 3 people to the group, I'll buy you a Privy. So credit score. I mean, they do check credit. Obviously, like I said, they don't want to make sure somebody's like a total dirtbag. Credit score, background, knowledge base, income status, employment status, and current situation. We'll get to the next presentation. We'll show you guys a pyramid of how they make decisions as the lenders. So obviously, we're doing single family, non-owner occupied investment properties. We do talk to people. There is something called owner occupancy fraud, which is where somebody does like a straw purchase to get a house for somebody that they're going to live in. You cannot, in this industry, you cannot lend money. You cannot do deals with people that are going to be owner occupied. It's the Dodd-Frank Act. It was Senator Chris Dodd and Congressman Barney Frank who actually ran that. It was in, and I think it was 2009. It was during the big housing crisis when that got passed. So we can do duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, commercial and family. Any commercial family, multifamily is 5 units and up. If it's under that, it's 4 doors and under. It's still single family. Commercial tenant, retail, new construction. You know, the fix and sales, fix and holds, whichever. You know, so you can also throw in like obviously most of this presentation was written in single family and some smaller deals. Obviously, you got short-term rentals, you got storage units, you got RV and mobile home parks. You got that new thing called glamping. Glamping's like really ridiculous to me, but it's, hey, people are doing it, making money on it. I don't understand it enough to actually teach people how to look at the money and how to, you know, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's like people go like high-end camping. It's like, you know, trying to be like a, you know, trying to be like a Hyatt Regency or a Four Seasons out in the forest. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, whatever. If you can show us that the property puts money in your pocket, we can probably get it funded. All the brokers that are in our group and all are gonna try, you know, they want to get deals funded. So if you're just an EMD gap transaction lender, that's like I said, you want to work with them because they're gonna have a multitude of deals. When we build this group of 1,000, who knows, it could be more. You're gonna have a client base and you guys will have a client base. And we're hoping that you guys go into that group and you kind of help educate people and do like a baseline education, like at the 101 level. You know, we don't want to give them too much of the stuff because, you know, we want to kind of just raise their bar of knowledge so they can be a better borrower and they're a better client of yours. And then if you know, people are, like I said, just, you know, show them the money and show them the love and work with them because that's how you build your business as well. So the target deal is first trust deed at lending only. Keep in mind, like I said a couple of times, if you're just an EMD gap and transaction lender, you are going to be on second position, but you're going to know when that second position, when it terminates, when you get the money out of it. It's most likely 80 to 90% of our deals that you guys are in are going to be paid back to you at closing. So it's a good situation. Interest only. The minimum loan amount is $15,000. That's what I mean. Literally, actually, to be honest, I'm going to change that because I don't see a lot of deals going 75,000 or under it these days. There's not enough money in it. Keep in mind, a lot of these companies like Vizio and stuff, they have investors, and so they have to make investors money. There's not a lot of money to make investors back in the times that they have agreed to in their operating agreement. So maximum loan amount, bring the deal. Guys, we have lenders that can do millions. we have, don't be afraid of bringing the deals. We'll put it together. We got the advisory board. We got all the associates with experience and all the brokers. And you guys with EMD and transaction, who knows, maybe it takes 2 or 3 of you to get it done. Financial, there's almost no prepayment penalty. I don't think I've ever seen one where there was a prepayment penalty. The financial condition is down payment, construction rehab costs, closing costs, and 3 months of reserves. The 3 months of reserves is also in a bank statement. They're going to use Chirp, or there's a couple different services where, and you guys have probably seen it sometimes, where they're going to ask you to put in some information. It's either going to log you into your bank and they're going to look at it, or some other system that they're going to look at your bank account. They don't look at a lot of stuff, and it's safe because the banks will come back, and I had one happen the other day where my bank came back and asked me to verify it. And because I'm getting, changing my auto insurance and changing the company, they actually wanted to check if, I'm trying to get a little bit more, better deal on my insurance on my car. So general applicant requirements: applicant bar must be existing valid U.S. business entity, LLCs, corporations, partnerships, trusts. A personnel guarantor is required. On 40% or more owners of entity are required to be personal guarantors. So that could vary from lender to lender, though. So the private money brokers and the other lenders, they're going to know what their lenders require, what for guarantors. But I'm going to say 99% of the deals I've done were LLCs. I don't think I can't even remember. I'll take that back. I can't even remember a deal where it was done in a private name, where it wasn't an LLC, corporation, partnership, or trust. And then, U.S. business entities with ownership of foreign nationals are permitted to borrow. And like I said, Helena is brokers and she's from Australia, which is, obviously different than that. But, it's pretty cool. We got her set up that way back in 2020. Property requirements, non-owner occupied. And then, clear title, and then hazard insurance, and then Rock Capital, rock360.com or rockfinancialsolutions.com. They have an insurance company that covers just about every type of real estate deal. And they can so if you work with Rock, or if you work with any of the Rock brokers, or which is Willie, Erica, I think Simi's going to try to get into that program. They can probably get you into a program with that. So they have access to Rock, and they have, like I said, insurance companies. They have their own title company. They have a few other things. They have their own appraisal company. Third-party independent appraisals by approved national company, usually be ordered by the lender. But you got Appraisal Nation and you got Clear Capital. There's two other national. You've also got a law firm, Private Lender Law, John Hornick. He can close deals in all 50 states. Very, very respected and reputable law firm. Property must be habitable or funds held in escrow. So you can't have anything that's just really abandoned. No, it has to be, they're going to hold, especially rehab funds. Most of the lenders are going to hold the rehab funds in escrow and pay at draws. We'll talk about that in a scope of work section. We won't be doing a scope of work specifically as part of the 16 weeks. We will be doing a special segment on it, which I'll be doing, and then you guys can watch it on video, or if you guys can't, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably do it in September. As people get a little more experience, I'll do scope of work, and we have the forms, and there's like 7 or 8 scope of work documents in the files tab. Lease requirements. So if it's going to be if it's going to be rental property, lease requirements. If it's empty, that's something you need to do, like explain it, have them write it out. Well, is it empty? Is it going to be empty while you're rehabbing it? Or can you rent one unit? Can you rent some of the units and then rehab some of the other ones? And unfortunately, sometimes in larger deals, they depend sometimes on people not renewing, and they can get to their apartments, just in turnover. You get a large complex with a couple hundred units, you can do that. You have 3 or 4 units, it's harder to actually, you've got to almost have everybody vacate and have all new tenants, which sometimes happens because you're buying an apartment complex and you're going to be raising rents and bringing it up and stuff like that. You're probably going to lose. I mean, it's a thing you got to worry about, address in your deal analysis. And all of our multifamily, we have 3 different ones that are uploaded for you. Analyzer programs, they all address that. I'll talk about that. No season requirements on refis unless required by gift or quit claim in the last 12 months. So then the max LTV is 50%. So it drops down if it's a gift or a quit claim. within 12 months, then it drops down to loan to value is 50%. This is on most of the lenders that we broker for. And keep in mind, so when you guys are reaching out and you guys are doing deals for EMD, to loan a EMD, then you work with the brokers and they'll have the term sheets and they'll know what if that lender does anything different. Two types of deals: refis and purchases. A refi, all funds are used to go back into the current project or cross collateralize. When I talked about that experience form, you guys, when you're just starting out or when you got people just starting out that you're advising, or that you want to tell them they can, when they're starting out, they can put their primary residence on there to show an experience real estate owned. Don't put it on there once you get experience, because you don't want to accidentally have them factor it into cross collateralization. Obviously you're not committing to doing anything with the property, but it can throw the numbers off and kind of put things awry before, in the processing and underwriting. You don't want to have the underwriter come back and, underwriters are not pleasant people when things are bad. We'll end up at 55% of as is appraised value. If borrower receives more than 10% of cash out of closing, the loan defaults to a cash out transaction. So refinance cash out, most lenders will only fund up to 50% of as is. So, if it's as is appraised value, $100,000, they're only gonna cash you out of $50,000. If there's risk there, there's a lot of risk there. Lenders will lend up to 90% of purchase price or 65% of as is appraised value, whichever is lesser. But some lenders obviously will do 80% only. And you guys hear about the myth of the 100% lender. There's some out there. It's a program. It's a special program or something. But all of our brokers know who does the programs, what lenders are out there. How do you get 10% down? Equity partner, family or friend, equity and free and clear property, seller carryback. And we got all these. We're gonna have all this stuff in there in the guide section. But you guys go down after 401k or self-directed IRA and gap funder. That's EMD guys. That's you guys who are lending EMD and gap and transaction funders. So how do they get 10%? If the property's $100,000, you are that 10%, and then you can charge them 10 to 15, 20% interest on that. So that's where you guys are, the gap funder and the cash. Final loan examples. $75,900. They're talking about this guy is, obviously just jacked his picture off the internet. This is like this. The best way to buy real estate is to do that your own money. We're buying a property for 50 cents on the dollar, actually less sometimes. And availability is nearly unlimited. Fast money at mezzanine loan rates. It's a pretty good deal. Loan amount is $55,000 and on this deal. And then we have some scenarios. So I'll be posting these scenarios in there as well, but you guys can kind of look through them. So get $110,000 purchase in there. You get these deals. Like I said, I have all the scenarios, so I'm not going to go through those. I'm going to be posting them as examples in the group. So our team will then call, support, and shepherd you through the package submission. Guys, that's what our board is for. And that's what I'm for, is to do the back office and help you put deals together. Whether you're just a borrower, you're an associate, and you're just going to be borrowing, whether you're going to be lending or whether you're going to be brokering, or a combination of all three. It's going to be a team to help you guys put your packages together and get all your paperwork right and do the deal analysis. We're going to be there 100%. That's what the virtual system is also going to be very intense on that. Very, very detailed. Once your deal is accepted, we'll get the funding and you just get a deal. All the private money brokers that's what they do. They're getting paid on contingencies to their best interest, their vested interest to make sure all the paperwork's great. And keep in mind, a lot of the deadlines they tell you, if they're telling you it's going to be 28 days to close, that is from the time that you get all the documents and items required in their punch list. So in the checklist. So if you're short something, don't expect it to close on time. It's 100% on the borrower, the person, to get all the documents and everything needed to the private money broker, just like a mortgage broker, or it's up to them. So you always want to make sure when you're talking about that. So this kind of concludes this presentation. I know it was a little bit faster, but obviously we have a few hiccups with kind of the delay. Kevin's on. Cool. Here comes Kevin. Oh, wait. Go to the next one. Actually, I think the delay's a little bit better now. So guys, do you have any questions about that? Like I said, it's just a little fast. I will upload that for you guys to go through it on your own time. Then I'm gonna do a logic, kind of how lenders make decisions as another PowerPoint, and then we're gonna go into a few more things. But Kevin's connecting right now, which is a good sign. So Willie, I mean, you've seen anything that's, almost everything in that presentation is kind of how the private money brokers operate. Guys. Yep. So you guys that haven't done it yet, and if you're just going to be EMD lenders, obviously you're going to want to partner up with Willie or somebody who's, bring him, because it's going to be your money, and he's going to be doing good paperwork for you to show you, hey, his client's solid, and that's going to be a good risk. It's going to be a very low risk. We can't eliminate risk 100%. I think we can get about 95% just by due diligence. And I think obviously having a group like this where everybody's going to know each other, that's a huge risk management, risk reduction factor. Kevin, are you able to talk yet?
I need more
No,
underwriting.
it's fine.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Willie?
I need more underwriting practice. That's why
Yeah.
I know kind of, I lack in that area. Once I get that down and do it more, I'll know and can quickly identify deals that can help the borrowers understand what they need to be locking these properties down at.
Yeah.
You got enough experience. It's not going to take you very long to figure this out, Willie. Just to let you know, after having worked with you on a couple of things that we've been trying to do, you're just not that far off the beaten path. So this you pick this up in a week easily.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, this is Kevin. Oh, actually, everybody knows Kevin now, so that's in here. Yeah, so we kind of went to the broker presentation, Kevin, just now.
Yeah.
I'm on a little bit of a delay. Like Zoom's doing some stupid shit like tonight.
I know.
So I apologize to everybody. It's not, trust me. And sometimes I've actually just stopped and come back, but then not everybody gets back on. And so I just want to kind of like say, we're going to try to do the best we can. We've got an hour, but we may only really just go 2 hours instead of 2.5, just because of the delay. I want to do this logic lending presentation. Kevin and I've done it probably 10 times. So it's kind of,
Okay, let's start this way. Okay. The name is Logic Lending. If it don't make sense, you don't do it. It's just that simple. And when you get down to these terms, there's not a whole lot of that either. You're going to find out, well, wait a minute, why didn't anybody else tell me this before? It just makes perfect sense. And that's what you're going to find out. So with that all being said, Nate, have at it.
okay. Trying to bounce around because I'm like, this whole thing's like screwy. Like literally, I just couldn't see. I couldn't see the screen at all when Kevin was talking, so I want to make sure I can see everything. I'm going to share screen again, which you guys just saw what I had to do last time. So I'm going to do the PDF on logic lending, and I will upload if I haven't already. I have to go check the files. I will go, and the keep in mind is still on the delay. I will make sure that you guys have both these uploaded so you guys can download them and go through everything on your own so that we have full access to it. It's just taking a minute to do it. Like I said, we're going to kind of talk to you about how lenders kind of make decisions. So let's see. Are you guys able to see that yet or not?
No, it's hanging up for some reason. You're not able to get it out of your
Well, no, I
Yes.
mean we're on a whole delay for. I mean, I'm like literally like, yeah, I don't know what Zoom's doing right now.
I don't know either because I couldn't get in. I've been working on that since the get go, and you see I just got in.
So let me try to do that stop share, and it's frustrating. And then try to see if I can restart the
Okay, what was
share.
that? Nope.
Yeah, because I want to do this. Got to show this to you guys.
Okay, it says it started. Let's see what pops up. Well, it's there, but there's nothing there. There's nothing in the field.
Yeah, and like I said, guys, I'll post it so you guys have it. Make sure that you guys have it because it's really good. It's just really, this is like frustrating, really. This is like, We don't normally have these. Like I said, it's just totally like, I don't know what it is. So logic lending, like Kevin was saying, if it's not logical, don't do it. If you're an EMD gap transaction lender, like I said, if you're going to be putting $5,000 or $10,000, you want to be looking at this too. You're going to get a really good, obviously have the private money brokers and the other people involved that are making their kind of, because like I said, it's they're getting commissions off of it. So
Okay, you should be able to click on Logic Lending 2 on your list. Now try it. Hit it.
that's what I'm doing. Yeah, normally I'm already like, this thing flies.
Yeah, it snapped right up. For some reason, it's really weird.
Yeah, so I apologize, everybody. This sucks. I'll keep working on it until it does
We'll
it.
drop down to just Logic Lending period and see if that comes up.
Well, the PowerPoint. No, it's not going to make a difference. We'll just talk about it. I'll just stop
Oh, this is
screen.
the version of the audio visual. You will get your visuals
Yeah.
in chats.
Okay, so there's a little pyramid. I'm just going to talk you through it, guys, and I'll post it tomorrow. I'll post it tonight when I do the video, so you guys can kind of go through it. They're making a decision based on factors like experience. They're looking at their income and a job. Like if you have if the person has a job or a business, and it's really up to you if you're a private money broker and you're taking the deal to have vetted the borrower before you even approach the lenders, because then you build a positive relationship with your lenders, and you're going to have a contact information. If you decide you want to be a private money broker, you're going to sign up with Physio, Kogo, or Rock. You're going to onboard with them. You're going to have a rep there, and a rep may or may not be a processor. In some places, a rep is going to be like more like an account manager or even a sales rep. And whereas other lenders that may be also your processor who you assign a deal. So they do it in a pyramid, not to be confused with pyramid scheme. They like I said, they make decisions based, it's usually at 5 factors. It's also, the deal itself. They're looking at the numbers itself. Is this deal going to work? The ARVs, if you're 65% of ARV, if they're loaning you 90%, they look at the numbers as part of that, but they're looking for experience. And if you have experience and your credit is good, you have a 700 credit score and you got 5 deals of experience, and you can show that on the form, and it has places where you can put what you sold it for. They're not asking for a lot of detail, but that will get you a much better deal, and that's what you tell your clients. And even if you're just lending EMD and GAP, you'd rather, do you want to help out new people in their first deal? Yes, we want to do that. We're all about that. And we're going to be able to guide them through that process of getting that first deal. And we're going to celebrate that. In this group, we celebrate all the successes, and we don't put any focus at all on failure. Rod Cleef says that his failures are seminars. That's one of the things that Rod Cleef talks about all the time. And his failures are that, but we celebrate success in this group. We want everybody's success, and minor successes count as just as big as, hey, I just made $50,000 on a deal. Well, if you got your first offer accepted and it hasn't closed yet, that's still a success. We still celebrate that. So in the logical lending, like I said, you've got to come up with your comfort zone. If you're lending your $10,000 as EMD to a borrower, you've got to make sure that situation works for you in that time frame. We want to get you in that cycle, like I said earlier, those 4-week cycles where you're lending 10,000 this week, 10,000 next week, 10,000 the next week, 10,000 the next week. Well, that would take $40,000 to commit. Like I said earlier when I first started tonight, nobody in this group wants you to commit to everything you got to put in this. If you got $50,000, I don't want you putting $50,000 in your first deal. I don't want you doing that until you've done 10, 20, 50 deals. You've got a lot of success. Maybe you've done a whole year of just weekly EMD loans, and then you're building up that balance. At some point in this group, we're going to tell people at some point you can reach that where you can pull all the principal back, and then you put your money back in your account where you got it, your IRA, whatever. Now you're basically playing with house money. You're playing with the casino's money. You've just loaned out, $10,000 40 times at 10% or 20% or 15, whatever. All that interest is now compounding, and it's basically building up the principal that you're going to be, loaning next year. You do that for 40 or 50 weeks. You're not going to be able to do 52 of them. A lot of things slow down, guys, in December, obviously, after Thanksgiving. I mean, believe me, about a week before Christmas, you're not going to find anybody at these lending companies. You're not going to find Wall Street goes down to like a skeleton crew until after New Year's. But if you can do about 40 loans week in and week out, you can do all these mini loans we're talking about, and we can fund these deals. You're going to be able to build up a rather sizable amount of capital for your principal. That next year, year two of doing this, is now you can go and say, hey, now I've got 40, now I got $60,000 and I can break it up to $15,000 increments. You do that to 12 weeks. So if you do 15,000 over 12 weeks and you're charging 10% interest, just to make it easy to calculate, you're making $1,500 a week interest over 12 weeks. You just put $18,000 onto the interest. Now you take that $18,000 and add that to, break it up into, whatever. Again, now that next period of 4 weeks, you're going to basically invest that money. You're going to lend that money out. You're going to build up that principal. You're going to do it again for another 4 weeks, another 12 weeks. Everything's 4 weeks and then 12 weeks. So you can do it 3 times. And each 12-week cycle is when you want to add that principal. You don't want to add it after week four. You want to add it after week 12 and break it up into quarters. And then you add that principal. Then that next, the quarter 3, quarter 4, guys, picture how much you can make if you can do $18,000 in one quarter. You're talking about being able to do 72 to maybe $100,000 in a year. Then next year, pull your principal back if you want or not. It's your choice. Then you take that money out, and that's what you're loaning out as the MD gap and transaction. They don't need $100,000 on a lot of these deals. They need 10,000, 5,000, 20,000 to close the deals. And so, like I keep saying over and over again, make the private money brokers in the group and the guys that are direct lenders are going to be your friends if you're an EMD gap transaction. We're going to teach you all the principles and all the contracts and all the systems and processes. But we're going to also make sure that you're teamed up with the people that are talking to the lenders that are doing the deals. Because like I said, it's in their best interest. They're getting their broker commission only when the deal closes and it's paid by the title company. The lenders actually don't even pay them. It goes to the title company. It's on the HUD one. We'll show you HUD one in a few weeks. We've changed it a little bit, guys, and you can see I do talk about the HUD one in one of my YouTube videos. So if you haven't seen the HUD one, you can just pull up that YouTube video. Any of them. We got like over 100 of them, 140 of them. We only put maybe 1 or 2 of each session on the public side just to kind of promote it. But we have 140 public. I have 100 on the YouTube channel, which is just at Private Money Authority, and you can find that in YouTube. And like I said, we have some pretty good stuff. I have some pretty good stuff on there. A lot of it's short. I don't like going into a lot of detail. I like to save it for you guys. I don't like, so when it's public, I make sure I highlight stuff. I show stuff, but you guys are the ones who are going to get all the detail stuff. And we are going to start going into detail. Obviously tonight with this little lapse or delay, I'm not going to be able to do what I wanted to do. But I'm going to go ahead and make 2 separate videos for you guys that are just going to be private in the next couple of days. Probably get it done over the weekend at the latest. I'll do one on that broker presentation, so it's a little bit more crispier, and then I'll do one entirely on the logic of lending, just because you're kind of missing out on that one. And I really was excited to do these because I really enjoyed doing these PowerPoints for you guys because they're really informative and stuff. But in the meantime, you guys can look at the guides and you guys can see the examples I put there. And I've got like I said, probably another 25 examples. And then we're going to be able to go up through guide 50 is my estimate. And I'll have that. It's going to take me through October 15th. I don't want to put everything in there right away because I don't want to overwhelm people. People are learning it. I know, Marcelo, you said you're up to guide 7. So I don't want people to go in there and just get all, so many places it's too much information. And you guys see that in all the groups, and I don't know who's been in Jim's group today to see how many people they have. I think they're over 350,000 now. So you obviously know that if you guys ask some questions in different real estate groups, you're going to get 100,000 answers, and 99,995 of them are probably wrong, or wrong for this. A lot of people are biased. You say you have $50,000. What do I do with it? How many people are going to ask you to put their money into their deal? I mean, you guys can all pretty much say you've probably seen it before. You would expect that. I'm asking you guys to basically grow your capital. And then basically at some point you can actually then buy properties. If you have $20,000, you're limited. Can you do it? Can you get a property now? Can you get something? Yes, you can use Privy and you can probably get you can partner with people. There's a lot of ways to do it, but how much more valuable if you turn that $20,000 into 500,000 or a million? Now you're like, dude, I'm paying cash. Don't pay cash. Just use that to leverage OPM and still use the brokers in the room and still use the lenders, because that way you can leverage that and then you can show that as yours and you can keep lending that out. Then you can keep lending that out. And that's basically, hey, if something goes south, you can cover it. You got $1 million sitting off to the side. You need $10,000 to keep a lender happy. You don't have to ask them for that $10,000. Then, so we want you to basically build your capital, build your business, and have full control. It is 100% full control of all your money. You're never going to be asked to wire any money to anybody but the title company or the closing agent. So, like I said, unfortunately, I really want to do logic lending tonight. I'm kind of disappointed on that. Let's see what else I got. Yeah, they've got a few options. Yeah, this sucks. Yeah, I'm actually back to the full page. Which is good. So, yeah, that's a big thing, guys, is with these, like I said, with the decision-making process, and you guys will see that in the PowerPoint, and I will post it so you guys can go through it on your own time. But like I said, you're gonna expect the things like, they wanna show the reserves. You're even if you're an EMD gap transaction lender, you wanna know the people who have reserves, because you're kind of looking at you're out at the deal, you're out at closing, you're getting paid back, but you still wanna have a good relationship with that private money broker. And if you see something, you catch something, in the deal or something like that, you're kind of an extra set of eyes and ears. They're looking out for you because they, like I keep saying, they have a vested interest in that broker fee. That's how they make a living. That's how that's their business. So you have the opportunity in this group to be a borrower and just borrow money, and you have an opportunity to be a private money broker, and you have an opportunity to be a lender. For EMD gap transaction, and you can do two or all three of them as well. And that's actually what we want. We want people to have a full circle, being able to do everything. Because also, if you're putting your money into, you got $20,000 and you're brokering for Kogo or Vizio, you can put your own money in that deal. You can do a JV situation, and you can actually, and I'm going to tell you, Kevin, to come back this up, if you partner with them and you have the money to complete their deals and the requirements of that power checklist, you can JV with them and you can get a lot of deals done that way. I mean, because, and so you're going to be able to help a lot of people who may not have, the ability to actually close the deal, but the deal is going to be good. The deal is going to make money. They're going to be able to pay the interest on it, and they're going to be able to, when they close on it or they sell it or flip it, they're going to be able to pay it back. So we have the deal analyzers and the loan calculators. We also have a cost of capital calculator that's in files. You can download that. And then, and it's everything that we have, like all of our Excels and stuff, our spreadsheets it has the codes. It tells you what to do. It's very simple. And we have our buy and hold calculator actually shows people how to do the 1% rule and the 2% rule. Because right now, a lot of people are looking more at the 2% rather than 1%. I'll post the infographic tomorrow on that to explain it. Just don't want to go into it right now, but like I said, I have very solid analyzers and calculators, and you're going to want to, no matter what you're doing, you may want to play with them because it just makes you that much more knowledgeable. And when you can talk to people, because obviously we'll have this base of the EMD gap group, but you guys are enough real estate groups that you guys can find people looking for deals, looking to get deals funded. And then if you bring somebody in, if you're out there near a group and you bring them out to, bring somebody to Willie or bring somebody to Justin or bring somebody to Gabe or Simi, and you get a deal funded through one of them as a broker, they're going to appreciate that a lot. And they're going to look out, they're going to help you make money off that deal by, you putting the capital into that deal. So it's just like guys, I think we're building a group that's just win-win for everybody. And everybody kind of is going to be able to make money together on deals. I don't want people making money off people. Let's make money together. So it's a good situation. So Kevin, do you got any updates, any news?
Not really, outside the fact that it's been a hell of a week.
So yes, we've got a lot of stuff going on. Obviously I'd like to do logic lending, but I think I had another guy come in today and he's got he wants to put capital and he's gonna be a bit passive. I also want to emphasize anybody that's watching that's not on tonight, you can be passive in this group and just basically, you can learn on your own schedule and you can, you'll get the deals, then you can make a yes or no if you want to loan money on it. And then we'll make sure that the process goes through. That's why the board is there. The board is there to provide oversight and make sure that everything's a solid deal. Like I keep saying over and over again, the guys are the brokers. We got a couple of them. I mean, and a couple of people are trying to, becoming brokers. They're gonna make sure these deals are solid, and they know what they're doing. And then Willie, we're gonna go on a lot of underwriting probably pretty soon. I mean, I think we're gonna go on a lot of underwriting. Logic lending. I know I can't go because this. Help maybe I'll just have to probably do it next week, but I'm gonna post it. I'll post the whole PDF because there's some stuff in there that'll help you with that as well. But the loan analyzers and calculators also do a lot. It just depends. You've got to pick out a couple of things that you need if you want to buy and holds. Flips are easy. Anybody can do. A lot of people can do flips, in their heads with the calculations. But there's also a loan officer calculator from Kogo. I've actually got Kogo's, and I've a loan calculator. Their loan officer, and it's uploaded in files, so you guys can download that, and it covers more than just flips. So you guys can go and actually plug in the numbers. And I just encourage you guys to look at some of the scenarios and stuff, and just start looking at deals. If you see a property, just start plugging numbers in, and just on your own. And that's how you learn too. Is just come up with a bunch of scenarios, and it was yeah, that's going to be awesome. I mean, like always one of the best. So we're going to basically make sure that you guys everybody's competent. We want a fully team. What I want to get to the point where I come on and it's basically just me hearing success after success. And we're at that point. I think by the end of the 16 weeks, obviously by the end of November, when we're in Thanksgiving, Christmas, everybody's got deals, everybody's making money. Because people ask me how soon can I make deal? There's a couple of ways. We can get you a broker and you can go close the deal right now. You can lend money right now. You could work, if you got $10,000, you can work with Willie right now. You could probably get you a good deal, one of his deals, or you can lend money if you can do that the same with any of our private money brokers. But also, like I keep saying, guys, we are going to price adjustment September 1st. So you make $400 if you bring somebody to join the group as an associate. So you got your $3.99 back and you're up $1. So so you're actually in the black. So, and I don't want you guys to spend money unless you have to. Anything that I recommend, like Caribbean stuff, is stuff that's actually going to help you. We don't want people out there spending $10,000 or $5,000 and going, "Hey, I'm not making my money. I'm not making it as slower or something like that." So we price it at this price. The reason we're going to a little bit of a price adjustment is because it's, we've been told, hey, people, you should charge a lot more for this. And Kevin's been told as much as $10,000. I paid so my tuition for the private money broker, and some people have heard this before, was for a private money broker with Lee Arnold was $1,500. Okay, so and I was another person that I got to 23 real estate seminars. I always asked about the money. I was never going to pull the trigger because nobody could ever tell me actually how to get OPM. They don't tell you that in the seminar. They want you to join, and they won't tell you that. Maybe you get 2 or 3 upgrades, and then finally the second or third upgrade, they tell you, hey, here's your lender list. Now you got a lender list. Great. I have a lender list too, guys. You can download it, the 1.0, 850 lenders on there.
A lot of the times those lender lists are way out of date. That's the other part of the problem with them. Ours is much more up to date. We keep it maintained.
Yeah, I'm about to send it out for another upgrade in September. So we'll have another, we could come back and we might have, because we have about 1,300 and about 850 we were able to confirm when we did it back in May and June. And I think we're going to be able to, we could have 900, we could have 800. It just depends. We're gonna go through the 1,300. I have a VA is going to go through the 1,300, and so that way we may have more lenders. But we want to make sure that all of the deals are solid. All the lenders are out there, and these guys, like I said, we're going to identify them. You guys, Willie's on tonight, so you guys who don't know Willie, get with him. All of our private money brokers will make sure that you guys know who they are, especially for EMD gap transaction lenders, where you can partner with them. And they could, like I said, you want to be on their list when they need to get deals completed for their clients. That way you guys have that first, opportunity to put money into the deals. And if you have larger money and you want to be a first position lender, they can also broker, throw them a bone if they bring somebody to you, vice versa. Guys, everybody work together in this group. We're going to have probably 100 associates by the end of the year pretty soon. And, we're going to have a lot of people that can do deals together, bring people business. We'll work the EMD and GAP group, invite people in as ambassadors. That's going to be, people are like, why are you doing that for $100? It's like, well, they have a little bit of buy-in. I'm not asking for a lot. It's covering expenses, but I'm going to throw you guys $50 off that. So, if you bring somebody in, and then we're going to try to build 1,000, we may go more. But what I want to do with the virtual system is I want to be able to start January 1st with at least, a good 100 people that are lenders and brokers and all that stuff. And then a good 1,000 people that are in, real estate brokers are looking for money. And then that way, all the associates, all you guys associates will get that for life, obviously beta testing. And then all the people who are doing EME and GAP will probably do 90-day or a 6-month trial. And like I said earlier, my trials are not that you get 2 things and or whatever. It's programmed where you don't even get full access to what you can do. You're kind of locked out. You guys know how some trials work. They want to give you a taste, but they don't want to. I want you to be able to have a full version of at least some of it. Like, hey, get a really good working, see how it works. We've had some people that are guests that have been around that have been kind of lurking, and they all get a good idea of what's going on before. Some people are like they want to come in and see. People are people are scared of gurus, rightfully so. There's a lot of people out there asking for money who's $10,000, 5,000. Don't pay for their Lambos. Pay for build your wealth, build your income and cash flow instead of buying a Lambo or paying a Lambo payment. I don't know what a Lambo payment would be right now. It'd be kind of scary to look at. 'Cause I know most of those guys actually probably paying payments. Like none of them are actually paying cash. They actually do have a Lamborghini dealership in Denver. And I live here and I don't even know that. I didn't know that till recently. I thought they had to go to like Las Vegas or Dallas or somewhere was the closest one. So there's a lot of stuff going on with Logic Lending, guys. And like I said, I apologize for Zoom. I'm going to post that for you guys tonight so you guys can go through it on your own. And then next week I will cover it. So I'll cover that. I'm going to cover some very basic, I did experience forms and stuff. I'm not going to get into it like we did in the last session. We did one started in January because we're actually going to be working more on the lender perspective. And then if you become a private money broker and you need some of that stuff, we'll make sure you have it. Everything you need, we're going to make sure you have it. And then if you're a lender, whatever level, we're going to make sure that you have the package you need of the documents and forms. We're going to work with everybody in September and October. Once we've got most of the group going, then we're going to sit there and identify what your particular interests are, because everybody's going to be different. Somebody may not. It's your appetite, your risk tolerance. If you're willing to go and say, I got $100,000, like I said, I'm not going to let you put $100,000 in a single deal or even 10 deals. It's 10,000 apart. We're going to make sure that we're going to lower the risk by making sure that it's smaller deals until you get that experience where you don't need the funding board at that point, the advisory board at some point to actually make decisions. The advisory board's really there to help you guys kind of, okay, this is a solid deal to put $10,000 in. You're getting paid back $12,000 at closing. That's what we want. Yeah, it's 20%. That's a good return. You do that for 40 weeks, you got $80,000. On return. That's a pretty good, turn $10,000 into that. But that's if you put that 10,000 in every week. That's why I said you want to break it up. You want to have 10,000 this week, 10,000. So you want to have 40,000 if you're funding $10,000 deals. But don't be afraid if you got smaller amounts, you got 5,000 or 10,000, because then these guys that are private money brokers and all of us will kind of make sure if we have to stack money, or to get it done. Obviously, the first position lender has to approve everything. So, but we're not going to take deals to lenders that aren't going to get funded. We're going to do a lot of due diligence and make sure that everything's fundable. And that's another point, guys, when you are talking to people is, and I got in a little bit of an argument with somebody in Jim's group the other day about it. I was talking about, would you rather have as a private money broker, would you rather meet somebody before they got a deal under contract? Because what if you could actually help them not only match the offer to the seller or the seller's agent, but you could also match that to the financing, to the funding. So that way both of them are going to get done. And then if you're as a private money broker, know that you need $10,000, and that's this pool of EMD lenders. Now you can put the deal together and boom. That's what this whole group's about, is being able to structure deals and take them to the lender that, hey, I've got my $10,000 EMD, I've got it all put together. We got it all, we can send it to the lender, boom, it's approved. And it's approved by the seller. You want the seller and the lender to say yes. And if you have it if they have it under contract and something's wrong, the guy who was here a couple of weeks ago, I don't believe in shaming. I don't want to tear down people. But if you're 72% of ARV and it's not going to work, we're going to find a solution for them that's going to work, a strategy. We got strategies. I mean, we can put them in a lot of different things and try to get them that first deal, that first 5 deals. You know, these are the key. Your first 5 deals is what sets you apart. Once you have your 5th deal, you pretty much are on autopilot, so to speak. Then you just tap into the resources that you need. You already have a thorough understanding of it. You can show experience. Take a look at Credit Sesame and Credit Karma. A big thing that I stress this all the time. They just took medical bills off of credit reports. And anybody that's a client of yours that is coming to you, you can advise them the same thing. Use Sesame and Karma because it doesn't affect it. Use, Capital One's got a great program. If anybody has a Capital One account, they have a great credit program. They will actually tell you the percentages of each of the items your credit score is affected. You don't need to go out and pay. Nobody needs to go out and pay for credit repair because most of the credit repair ends up not lasting. I mean, they go and they get these things taken off or whatever, and you dispute it. There's a lot of issues on doing CPNs. I believe doing CPNs is I don't know, and that's not called best. I think in some cases it's illegal. So work with people on Credit Sesame and Credit Karma. And if you're a lender, ask them for Credit Sesame and Karma. They're pretty accurate, and have them run a report through them and get the 3 reports. Don't get into credit. We'll talk a little bit about credit in a couple of weeks. Loan applications and credit applications, because you don't want to keep credit information. You don't want anything. If you are brokering, you do not want to have them send stuff to you. You want to ask your lender that you're brokering for, do they have a portal or do they have a system where your client can submit directly to the lender and they go through their program? And because you don't want to be responsible for a breach or something. And none of us have stuff gets hacked. Best Buy gets hacked and all that. So what do you think our chances are of getting hacked? You start keeping people's credit information and stuff like that, puts you at risk, and then you get, you don't want that. So try to come up with, what your solution is going to be for credit use Credit Sesame, Credit Karma. And I can tell you what, I had a $5,701 bill that I owed Denver Health Medical Center. And, it was like ridiculous, but it was one night and I didn't even leave the ER. I had an infection, and I was there for 14 hours. I went there at 3:00 on a Saturday afternoon, Halloween weekend, and I got out at like 2:00 on Sunday. I just sat in the ER 14 hours waiting for the IV fluid, just waiting for the infection to go away. It was $5,700, and they just took it off my credit report like 6 months ago, and I got a 130-point credit score increase just because of that. So that was huge. I would say my credit was affected because of that. Everything else is good. So you guys want to talk to people, especially if you can say, hey, you got medical bills, but do credit repair in the right way. So I'm sorry, I wouldn't probably be talking credit report. I wanted to be talking logic lending. And I might just try to pull it up one more time. It seems to be like a little bit better. Let me try one more time at this, because I don't believe in giving up and hitting walls.
Oh, my bad.
Let me see if I can bring this up if it will. Can you guys see logic lending?
Yep.
All right. Woo-hoo! All right. I'm happy because this is what I was going to do. All right, guys, I'm going to do this and I'm going to cover this in about 30 to 40 minutes, and then we're going to knock off. So I'm excited now. So logic lending, these are 5 things to look for and question before doing a lot of work on a file. Like I said, emphasize before doing a lot of work on a file. Willie, how much work is there on a file?
It's quite a bit. Man.
Yeah. So obviously disclaimers. I make no earnings claims. I don't guarantee income or success. All this stuff. You guys can read this. I'm not a lawyer. I don't even play one on TV. I do watch Law and Order once in a while. I can do that Ted song. If you guys seen Ted 2, where Mark Wahlberg and Ted do that little Law and Order song, like it's pretty funny actually. You guys can find it on Google and then on YouTube. We can't give legal advice. So rather than advice, we chalk it up to me having very strong opinions and also a lot of experience. I brokered 250 deals before COVID in 3 years, starting in 2017, became a really good money broker in 2018 after I took the 4-day class, and then I became really good at it. And then, like I said, and those who don't know me who are listening, my seventh deal was, Kevin can tell you guys, my seventh deal was $7.2 million. I made $212,000 broker fee. And you guys will see that if you ever see Capital Syndicate or send out testimonials. They're like a partner of Lee Arnold, and they send out my testimonial. People hit me up on Bigger Pockets. At least once a week, somebody will message me on Bigger Pockets, ask them about that course in that program. Logic lending really revolves around these two questions. This is exactly what Kevin just said earlier. How are you going to make the money? How are you going to service the debt? How are you going to be able to pay for the deal? So always ask questions. And guys, we do have a questions. We have a couple of different variations of it. A couple of them are uploaded for you, and we have a couple of different backgrounds. There's a couple like things you can actually, keep. You can make your own. You can already make your own pad, to have by your phone or have in your car or whatever, where you can write down. It asks the questions for you. We have an asset checklist that I uploaded for you guys as well. That's actually in the files tab, where it gives you questions to ask people, so you can get a lot of information if people are coming to you for a deal. So logic-based lending requires the borrower to prove that they're going to successfully make money on the transaction, either through their ability to fix and sell the property for a profit, acquire the property and attach debt financing to it, and still show a positive with the cash flow. If these items can be proven as one of the 5 criteria and title is clear, we should be able to lend. So this is the permit I talked about, guys, not to be confused with Egypt. Level 1 is your as is and ARV. That's your value. Level 2 is your reserves and your ability to pay. We're actually going to do a slide for each one of these. So I will actually just do more of a description. The ability to pay is reserves, and most lenders are going to want to see 3 months. Experience is your level 3. Level 4 is the credit score. Level 5 is employment. And also, obviously there's some quirks around this. So level 1 is your value, as is or ARV. It speaks to the safety of the deal. If you're getting something from Privy and it's 41% of ARV, guys, you are gold. That basically is flipping the script. And lenders are going to love that if you bring it to them and say, hey, after 41% of ARV, I got my closing costs, I got my holding costs, I got my rehab. I'm still not even anywhere close to 65% ARV. That's flipping the script. And that's what we want. So we want to advise people to use Privy and those kind of programs that can help people find properties. And they have on-market and off-market properties. And on-market properties on Privy, sometimes they're actually even better deals than off-market. People are getting arguments all the time, but it's just facts. You guys go on YouTube and you look at Privy, you look at Benson Juarez, and you guys can watch them. And you guys will see that they are pulling up some on-market properties that are much better deals than off-market. You also don't need to skip trace them, and they can show you how to do comps on them. So experience, properties on schedule of real estate. We have those 2 forms. You can download them. Credit score, utilization of credible credit. Are they responsible? Is it a medical bill? Did they just get 2 cars repoed? Did they do this? Obviously, they're going to be looking sometimes in a business LLC. You can file bankruptcy and still get financed by most of these lenders as long as this is started. Employment, location, exit strategy, reputational capital. Exit strategy is one of the E's. You guys know I talk about E's. Your elevator pitch, your executive summary, experience, education. Education is what you're doing here. Reputational capital. Kevin talks about that once in a while. It's what are the, what is the lender? If you guys are partnering with somebody and you're working with a lender 4 or 5 times, like we talk about that. If you've done 5 deals with Vizio, believe me, you've got reputation capital with Vizio. They know you. If you bring a deal that maybe is borderline, or you bring a client's deal that's more borderline, and you're a really successful broker for them, they're going to still probably fund that deal. So you always want to build reputational capital. So now we're going to go a little bit more in depth. So Kogo has a thing, and I like using it. That's why I have it in here. It costs $25. It's 30 pages. It's called a collateral DNA report. I'll put the link in there on how to order one. You do order one through me because you have to pay, if you order it through somebody else, if you order through me, I can get it to you. It's $25 through my link, and it's 30 pages, and it's almost like an appraisal. They actually use it in their decisions. I use it for every one of my deals, even if it wasn't like code revision and all that, because it gives you so much information. And you ask your customer to spend $25, guys. That's not hard, and they can actually go into the link and just spend it. It'll send it right to them in their email. 30 pages. Now it's all residential. They don't have any commercial. They don't have storage. They don't have multifamily. It's 100% single family. So, borrower is paying 200,000 for a property of ARV at 350, as is comes in at 150. ARV value comes in at 320. The DNA report says that as is 190. What is the value of this property? They're going to go in the middle. If the DNA says 190 and the appraisal is 150, they're gonna go in the middle. They're basically gonna average it. And so it's great. They don't make adjustments. We don't make adjustments to the made or alter to the value of the point. So a lot of times, believe it or not, if you're doing single family, their collateral DNA and they've got 95% of the residential market is going to be higher than appraisals. And lenders like Vizio and stuff aren't going to accept it. So they're still going to need their appraisal. But honestly, for you guys, you can tell them that this may actually be a good selling point that, hey, you might be able to sell this property for a lot more money than what you thought. So that's a good kind of inside thing. It's not going to help you with a lot of lenders, but it's good to know. We'll start with the schedule of real estate and the schedule of assets, if they have them, where they are and what they are. So for a loan to be logical, this is how they pay. We need to determine how the borrower is going to be able to afford this loan. The last thing we want to do is force our borrowers into sticky financial situations. They must present the ability to afford the monthly debt service of the loan. If they're going to fix it up and sell it, we need to know where those rehab funds are coming from. Here is where you could use a credit card. If they're rehabbing it themselves, what we recommend is set up an LLC with a construction company. And you want to call it project management. Don't call it construction. You call it project management. And there is where you want to get your Home Depot contractor card, your Lowe's contractor card, your ones, Benjamin Moore, Menards, whatever. You want to get a few accounts, because that way you can start. We're telling this, and this is what you want to talk to your clients about. You want to encourage them to have their own project management company where they can buy materials and stuff, because that'll help make, especially if you can get a Home Depot, man. I had my Home Depot contractor card. I had 90 days stimulus cash. I didn't pay a penny for 90 days. And that helped me basically get jobs done. This is when I had my construction company. I still have my Home Depot credit card. I still have my LLC for that. But it's basically helps people like be able to manage and buy materials. And obviously you got to work that out with your contractor. We'll talk about that in a scope of work section. I'm going to do video. If the contractor lets you buy, materials, a lot of times they want to buy through their sources. Sometimes you want to find out, if there's a reason, if they're getting a kickback or something that may not be the contractor you want to work with. So that they got to be able to tell that you can pay this loan back. And that's really what reserves are. They usually want 3 months. They want to know you make up those first 3 months out of 6 months. Payments, the interest only. If they're going to borrow money from us, we need to see bids from licensed and bonded contractors. Obviously, there's work that people can do, borrowers can do. You can paint, you can change outlet covers to change them from avocado to white, things like that. You don't want anything in avocado anymore. I don't think you've wanted anything avocado or brown since like the 70s. But I just bring that up because it's funny. Obviously they want to see contractors. In our scope of work, we actually talk about how to verify contractors, make sure they got insurance. Don't call the agent, call the insurance company. I could tell you that from experience. Call the insurance company. Is so-and-so insured? They're going to tell you, the contractor. Sometimes what contractors can do is they don't want to pay workers' comp, but they'll go and get the policy. They'll pay the down payment or the first month's payment. They won't pay the rest, but they'll give you that insurance certificate that says that their workers' comp is good. It's good until it's not, when one of their workers gets hurt, and then it's on you. You also want to always make sure and advise your clients and yourself, whatever you're doing, to make sure that every contractor names you as additional insured. And in most cases, you're going to have to also name the lender an additional insured. Not every case, but some lenders are going to ask you to have your clients insure them as additional insured. If they're going to do the work themselves, we need to see proof they've successfully done this in the past. It's a little harder. to do, but yeah, I mean, painting and stuff, there's not a lot of things you can screw up. And when you're painting, I mean, don't take me literally for that because I'm sure there is. But how much do you have in the bank? How much do you have in reserves? Experience, like I said, 5 deals is solid. How many properties do they own? How many flips have they done? How well they manage the business? So in those forms, I talked about the asset checklist and there's a deal background checklist. We deal details. We have those uploaded for you guys. They have the questions you can ask. All these questions you can ask. It's some are pretty detailed, some are pretty short. It gets into the point where you don't have to remember all the questions you need to ask them. If they want to borrow money, put them, ask them the questions. Ask them what, make sure you get a story for them because that's actually if you're brokering money, and Willie can tell you this, if somebody's coming to you, to him for a loan, they come in, if he gets all the answers, he may be able to send them to, it may increase how many lenders he can take them to. And that increases the opportunity for a better deal. Sometimes maybe that information gets him 9% instead of 11%. That's a huge deal, saving 2%. That's a big savings. So you want to kind of emphasize that to your borrowers, your clients, and even anybody that, hey, you want to get as much information and get that to you as possible. Don't be scared of answering questions. Don't be scared of asking questions, because this is all about making money. It's all about saving money and not making mistakes and showing to the lenders that you guys can, that the money's going to get paid back. A borrower can produce before and after pictures of multiple properties, copies of checks showing the money they made. That's preferable. I mean, not every lender is going to ask that. That's sometimes a little much, but sometimes making sure that people will have good books is good. And also with the before and after pictures, there's a program called Company Cam, companycam.com, Cam, just CAM. You can use the free version of it. Unless you are really doing hundreds of properties or you're doing like major deals, you don't need the paid version. And you can do it, and you can take pictures and put them up in real time. And if you have an office and you have a contractor out there, you can ask your contractor to take pictures. They know on that checklist, on that punch list, the draw schedule, what they have to complete that week. This week, they got to get the flooring, they got to get the living room done and the family room. They got to have the flooring done. They got to have the baseboard in. They got to have the wall, all the outlets, covers put in. You got to have it clean. Whatever's punch list to get that check that week. If you put that, you can get, if you're a lender, you can require them. But that way you can save them. If you're brokering money, a lot of lenders will charge $150, $200 to do an inspection. They're basically hiring a contractor locally to go and do an inspection, take pictures and show that work's been done. Company Cam, you could actually flip the script. You could actually have it even uploaded right to a lending company. Now, you're probably not going to get Visio and Cocos and all that to adopt that just because of you. They have their systems in place. But if you're a lender, you can actually ask for that. And since Company Cam is free, you can literally ask for that because it doesn't cost them a penny, and they can send pictures to you, have the rehab going, so you can watch the rehab. There's another opportunity besides the Indian Gap transaction. You could lend money on rehab, and you can charge money on rehab, and that's a pretty good loan. That's another income stream. Loan out $20,000 on a rehab because you're not loaning it all at once. You're loaning it in draws. So you can, they don't get that money until they show that work has been done. So that's a good thing. Credit, open trade lines, use of trade lines, Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, can't say that enough. They actually give you they show you those 5 or 6 different areas. They show you, how many trade lines you have, how they're utilizing trade lines. Are you maxed? Like if you have 0 to 1% or 10% utilized, you're getting 90% of that 30 points or whatever that they scored that on. So really you want to make sure that people know how to work their credit. And then you want to be able to see, what type of bank mortgage loans, auto loans. Most of, credit score would be high up on the pyramid. We're less concerned with credit with the score, more concerned how they've handled tough situations. Do they shrivel up and die in the wake of previous challenges, or do they work through them to ensure that lenders, investors, creditors were taken care of? If somebody's had a problem, guys, everybody's done 100 flips, 200 flips. They've probably had 1 or 2 go bad. Nobody's perfect. There's also no such thing as a perfect deal. You might get 97, 98%. Is a 97, 98% is probably a good deal. Probably close to perfect as you can get. But you want to see if they've had any problems. because if they've resolved problems and they can say, hey, I did this, or, hey, I had my Home Depot contractor card and I was able to actually, get manage the materials, in a better way, more efficient way, that shows a lot. You want people that are forward thinking. Bankruptcy and foreclosures are acceptable on a credit report if it's utilized as a last ditch effort to stay afloat. Bankruptcy and foreclosure are valid tools in business. It's the story. You always want the story. You also, an executive summary of the person, not the deal. You want to hear their story, what they're doing, what they're about, what they want to do. You want an executive summary. You always want a story, because stories are what excites people. Hey, this is a good story. I'm going to tell you guys something completely. Most of you guys know I have the hot sauce and barbecue sauce business. One of the third party people that I have is this guy, BT Lee. BT Lee is a guy out of Virginia. He's a world champion barbecue competitor. You guys have seen this show sometimes. He was going to go into COVID. Right into COVID, he was opening a restaurant. He had investors. His investors believed so much in him that because he couldn't open the restaurant, they just went and started a rub and sauce company with him. And he basically showed them, he tells a story now. And I told a story, and he has the story in his background, because now not only does he have a multi-million-dollar barbecue sauce and barbecue rub company, he has 3 restaurants, not 1. And so that's a great story to tell people how he didn't hit a wall in COVID. He basically realigned and readjusted, and he's far more successful than maybe if he just opened that 1 restaurant. He's well more off. I don't know if that's a good term. Well, he's better off with his situation now because he was able to blow right through that wall. You don't hit walls. You basically go around them. You go under them. You blow through them. You're a breacher. Everyone in this group is going to be a breacher. You guys will hear that term when you talk about, like, you guys ever watch like Rob O'Neill, the Navy SEAL that shot Bin Laden? If you ever watch his stuff on YouTube when he's doing videos, he talks about breaching. Those guys are, you guys see in the movies when the guys take the stuff that looks like Play-Doh and they roll it out or whatever, and then they blow the door out. That's what breachers do. So you guys want to be a breacher. All the knowledge, expertise, and all the connections and all the human resource talent, all the files, all the guides, those are your breaching charges. So that's how you guys are going to blow through the industry. You're basically just, nothing's going to stand in your way. Nothing's going to stand in your client's way. You guys have all the resources in the world and the human talent, and you scratch each other's back. Maybe you don't get that deal done without somebody helping you. You don't get that, you need Simi, you need call Kevin, he'll help you out. Call anybody, get that advice, find out how to structure the deal. Don't use every resource of this group because it's vast, and people, there's thousands of people in some groups. There's never going to be thousands of people in our group because I don't believe in that. I want to basically have a group that's like it's almost like being in a special forces unit. They have 12 guys. They don't have like a whole company or battalion, and those 12 guys can get more done than a whole company or battalion because they're very experienced and they have knowledge base and experience and all that stuff. You guys know, here's another thing that, I'll keep going back to the military. So I was watching a video and somebody was in Delta Force and he said, when they go through the course, the operator course, they go through selection, they go through the operator course for 6 months, they get their number. And it's secret. It's top secret. Nobody knows officially. But he said, I was actually surprised that he joined in 1989 and they've been around about 10, 12 years. He was surprised. I said, I was surprised at how few people actually are in this unit. Like literally there's only been like 2,000. Delta Force has been around 45 years and there's only been like 2,000 people in it, which is pretty incredible. But you guys know what they do, and them in SEAL Team 6 and all that. So you want to look at like how long have they been in their current job? Do they have occupational stability? If they have a business, they're self-employed, obviously you want to see their tax returns, business records, can you say how difficult will collections be? Do they have their bank accounts? Do they have business bank accounts? Most lenders will just go off LLCs and so they won't even need to get a personal. The private money brokers are going to know what the lenders are requiring. And that's why you want to make friends with them, and start learning from them, especially if you're brand new to this. You want to learn from the private money brokers. Because they know what currently is out there, what Rock's putting out. Rock puts out a week, almost sometimes a daily, but most likely a weekly update on what's going on. They talk about everything. They talk about the industry as a whole. They talk about specifically what they're doing. Like, and everybody can test who was in here in June or July. They put out a new program for no income verification ground up new construction. Within about 3 weeks, they basically had to pull that program back. They sent out a, you want to sign up for Rock Capital, Rock 360, you want to sign up for these companies to broker for them, because even if you're just a borrower, you're going to get that inside information that is out there that's going to help you on your own deals. But if even if you don't want to broker, you can still broker 5 or 6, 10 deals a year. Nothing says you can't, and you got that extra income stream. I encourage people to become a private money broker. We'll help you. There's I've got Vizio in there. You can sign up for Vizio right now. I got like 4 or 5 of I got their current programs offerings. Rental 360. You'll see that in files. I've got their broker, agreement with them. I've got your broker agreement for you and the client, and we've got a couple other forms. So we need to be aware of challenges that some borrowers will have with repayment of the loan. If they have a government job, been in their occupation for a long time, been with their current employer for a long time, this makes the loan safe. The riskiest loans are the self-employed investors who don't claim any income on their tax returns. Again, come back to questions: are you self-employed? The lender's going to ask this the verify. In some, you guys see all the time. There's some that do no income verification, but it's far and far between. It's just like the myth of the 100%. That nobody's out there giving you 100% if you don't have any other reasons for them to give you the loan. They're going to require you still to have a couple things, and employment or income is one of them. Lending off the fund. So we're almost wrapping up. First deed, we just talked about this in the other presentation. First trust deed only. If you're EMD gap transaction, you're going to be second position, but like I said, 90% of those loans are going to be, you're going to be out at closing and paid back. Credit used only to utilize the rate reduction. Interest only loans. If you ever see P or whatever in the loan, it's principal. It's you get into tribal lending. I just saw one where I was talking to the tribal lending company that I was going to be consulting with, which I'm not now, but they actually only apply. Somebody borrowed $1,000. They paid 37 payments. It wasn't until they were only applying $15 of the payment to principal for like the first 12 payments. And then it was like, it takes 37 months to pay that loan off, and you still owe the $1,000 at the end. It's ridiculous. So minimum loans, obviously I'll adjust that. Most of the time lenders aren't interested in doing under 50,000 or 75,000. Go is 75,000, 3 to 24 months. For a term of 6 months, the borrower is going to receive 0 tier adjustment. So you guys will see that chart I posted today. If you guys are like the tier adjustment, like would mean that you're getting an adjustment. If things are really good, you could start at 11%, all the way to 16%. You're not going to go from 16 to 15 or 14 if you don't have, if you got your credits 4, I'm not going to say bad, or less than average, and some other things, you don't have a lot of experience, they're not going to give you the tier 1 or the tier 2 levels. They're also going to have, and every lender is different, and all these guys, the brokers, have their tier sheets. They know what the tiers are, and they know what they can do with different qualifications. There is absolutely no prepayment penalty. I have never seen one in any deal I've ever done. Verified income requirement. They're also down payment, construction, rehab costs, closing costs, 3 months of reserves. So that's what they're looking for. And all these deals cross collateralization, meaning you can do multiple properties, 4, 5, 10 properties, whatever. They'll actually they'll give you a loan against all of them, and they can give you money against all of them. But like I said, don't put your primary residence in there. Non-owner occupied only. SFR, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes, condos, townhomes, multifamily. Obviously, this doesn't have storage and the bit larger deals, but the same principles apply. Clear titles required. They want 1 year hazard insurance. Like I said, you can go through Rock's 360, Rock's insurance company. They're really solid. They cover everything real estate investing, and they understand, because you can't go get regular homeowners insurance from them. Every one of their insurance products is dedicated towards real estate investors, but they want it 1 year. And even if even if it close, then you can cancel it, but you're still going to pay a year. It kind of sucks a little bit, but that's the way it is. I don't make the rules. Third party independent appraisals, national title company, you're gonna have Appraisal Nation, Clear Capital, whatever appraisal company, some of them on their own. Like I said, Rock has their own appraisal company. Purchase loan to value cannot exceed the lesser of 65% or 80% of the purchase price. So if it's less than $25,000, and I said it's going to be really rare because I'm not seeing any lenders doing under 50 or 75,000 now. They're going to reduce the LTV to 50%. It's risk, believe it or not, guys. The loans that are less for money are higher risk to them. And a lot of people don't understand that. So refinance to loan to value cannot exceed 65%. The LTV is going to be lowered to 50% if more than 10% of the loan amount is received by borrower at closing. They're going to reduce to 50% if it's 100,000. They're going to only give you $50,000. There's no season requirements. Now, keep in mind, guys, there's a lot of lenders. We have 850 lenders on that 1.0 database. A lot of our brokers are doing 2 or 3, 5 or 6 lenders. So, you know, on these things is the generalizations. Everything I put in here is like a generalization. It's industry wide, but you're going to find specifics that may be different. Cross pollination, we talked about that again. Like I said, I'm going to upload this so you guys can download it and work on it. Here's a few scenarios. Like I said, I posted those 8 today. So these get a little bit more details. I'll just put this so you guys can read it on your own. I'll just put it up there for about 30 seconds. You know, this is a pretty good deal. There's a couple of situations where a couple of lenders have different programs, like if you're in their master program or you sign up for a program with them, where you're kind of like an inner circle, they give you sometimes some better deals. There's also some where you can get rate buy downs, and you can get there's just there's some lenders that have programs out there. The brokers will know if people can get into an inner circle or a program where they can actually get, you know, a little bit of discount, or they actually give them sometimes a little bit more leeway. Like I said, it's 65%, they may go to 70%. So it's kind of like a privilege and not a right. You know, it's kind of like you have to be in a program. Most of those programs you pay for. I think at Kogo you could pay, but it was like literally it was like $20,000 to get into a master program, and then you got 100% across the board. You didn't pay a penny for anything at closing. You didn't have to take any money to the table. You didn't have to put any money down. No closing costs. But you paid $20,000. But if you broker 4 deals for them, you do their master broker program, they give you the $20,000 back after you've done 4 deals with them. It has to be with them. So we got different exit strategies. One example. Here's another one. This is in Milwaukee. Single family residence. You know, I talk about LTV, 50%. This is a 20. You know, rate of returns 13%. Guys, you're going to see 11 to 16% on average. You are not going to see under 10%, especially now. Yeah, you're starting to see 7 or 8% mortgages again, which is, you know, unfortunately, a lot of people. The housing market's kind of good as shit, I think, in some areas. Use of proceeds. This guy's even to rehab. Keep in mind, a lot of loans that are lower are going to be for rehabs and stuff like that. But it's a good situation. They talk about a borrower performance guarantee. That's another program that they had. One of the lenders has a borrower performance guarantee, which they pay a little extra. You know, they pay a little bit. And they get a, you know, that way if something defaults or something, it's like insurance. Some lenders have it. Like I said, any of the private money brokers, if they know if one of the lenders has a program like that, they'll tell you. Because you can go in and get like defaulted insurance and stuff. It's not talked about a lot because a lot of lenders, it's kind of a program that fluctuates. They don't offer it all at the same time. Kokomo, I believe no, they were from Gary. I thought the Jacksons were. I know Kokomo is the Beach Boys song. Borrower sold the property. They're also, this is another lender that has a borrower performance guarantee. Like I said, some of these things fluctuate, and as the economy, you know, like I said, it's default insurance, and a lot of lenders don't offer that. You know, you can buy insurance. I always thought about that'd be cool if there was a separate company, like third party, that could sell that, and you know, but it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like mortgage-backed securities and CDOs. It's a lot of stuff to figure out. It's complicated. So especially if they can show more properties, and you see at the end down here, borrower has 3 properties in a portfolio. This is going to be, they're showing rental income. So that's your experienced owned. That's it, and that's form, like I've said 3 or 4 times tonight. That form is uploaded in files for you guys to use for your clients and yourselves. And you guys can, you know, we'll go over it a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of each, what we did in the previous sessions, but we're really going to be focusing a lot more underwriting, a lot more risk reduction, and a lot more structuring in these next all the way through November 16th. Like I said, that'll be the last night. We're going to take the rest of the year off. And then when you guys come back in January, it's the virtual system, virtual platform. And I'll post for you guys who don't know about it, the 2 websites you guys can check out. We kind of guys have seen this, so let's just kind of wrap it up. Details about the deal. Again, questions, make your own form, but actually not just download the 3 or 4 that I've got uploaded. And if I don't have all 4 of them, I'll put the other 2 couple up there. One's an asset checklist. There's another checklist. You know, if you're gonna, you know, if you're looking for, you know, if you're gonna broker money for somebody, what questions to ask, it's already done for you. Just download the forms; they're already uploaded. But just kind of gives you an idea. You know, obviously these are things that really they're playing is you know, nobody needs to think very hard about that. These are the questions that they're going to ask. You know, what planned time to complete rehab? Never tell anybody you're going to complete a rehab in 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. You guys know that's not going to happen. Especially if you got to pull permits and you got like, oh man, Home Depot was horrible. My parents did a remodel at their house, and they put a little kitchenette in a bunkhouse. It's between my dad's collector car garage and the garage for the house. And literally it was done, and it took 6 months after the contractor got it all done for them to get the appliances. And it was just a kitchenette. There was a refrigerator and a range and a microwave. They didn't even put a dishwasher in there. And it was to get those 3 appliances because it took them 6 months for Home Depot to get it. Never buy anything off the floor. There's obvious reasons, but try to go places for appliances where they're in stock. You know, don't get like really, you know, unless you got places like we got Mountain High Appliance in Colorado that's pretty good. And we got Best, you know, we got a couple appliance stores. Best Buy's pretty good. I wish Sears was still in business because Sears had pretty good deals. And Sears would give credit to almost anybody. It's like, hey, you got out of prison. Here's your credit. Exit strategy, guys. Remember, exit strategy is one of the E's. I always talk about E's. All my E's. Executives, exit strategy, elevator pitch. You even got entry strategy. Besides an elevator pitch and your executive summary, your entry strategy is your acquisition strategy. Exit strategy is what you're going to do. Your dispos. That's your dispo. Your disposition strategy is your exit strategy. So, and you want to have contingencies. But what happens if you can't flip it in 6 months? Can you rent it? If you're doing can you do a pad split? You know, Willie can tell you guys all about pad split. If you're, you know, if you're doing Airbnb, you start running the regulations with HOAs and cities now fighting back on Airbnbs, all for the wrong. It's all the affordable housing activists that are trying to go after them, and people are like, "Yeah, I got it in my own town." They had people like somebody was like they're advocating, they're going to the county commissioners. Unfortunately, Evergreen doesn't have a city. We have a, you know, we have a county that basically, you know, it's Evergreen's unincorporated. There's some cities in Jefferson County that are incorporated, like Lakewood, Arvada, Lowell, and stuff. They're actually city governments, but Evergreen's unincorporated, so we have the county, and they're trying to lobby the county to. They said something about like, oh, the crime is really going up because of STRs. Well, the sheriff actually was in that meeting and said, no, they're not. So maybe before you talk about crime, you should talk to the sheriff. So keep in mind, guys, this is, you know, how much you ever reviews, credit score, employment, number of deals, experience, challenges on credit. Can they explain negative items? Things you want to ask them if you're brokering money, things you want to ask them if you're lending money, things you want to be prepared to answer if you are borrowing money. Do you have anything? Because if you can explain it and have a good relation, you know, at least to your broker, you may not have to do to the lender. They're going to know. They're going to know, okay, the lender's going to be okay with this, and they may have to afford it. It's like you guys go buy a car, you know, somebody has bad credit, they're going to have steps, they're going to have stipulations. They're going to require, you know, to put down your 10 friends and not be really friends because they're going to call a few of them to see where they, you know, unfortunately they might have to, you know, repost stuff, and they want to know things, stipulations, and can you explain why your credit, you know, now you don't have to explain medical because it was even getting a car if you had medical bills is hard. So keep in mind, if you can answer questions and if you can ask questions, you're better off. Get explanations. And then we go back to it: value, reserves, experience, credit score, employment. So like I said, I'm going to post this again for you guys so you guys can just review both these presentations on your own, go through them in more detail. use the examples I'm posting in guides instead of these, because I'm going to post a lot more shorter form, just getting thoughts in your head when you guys see the ones that are in guides. So if you guys got any questions, so hey, cool, we were able to do at least some of it. So that is kind of logical lending, guys. We're going to get a lot more underwriting, a lot more in depth. Like I said, use the guides, use the examples in the guides instead of these, because I'm putting, like I said, I'm putting a lot more of them into it, just little short ones, so you guys can just get those in your head, little scenarios, and then work with the private money brokers. That's the theme tonight. Okay, getting back to the virtual program for anybody watching and anybody that's on live. The two companies, I should move the share screen. I don't want to do that again. So Lightspeed VT is going to be the backbone. We're going to start building it in September. A lot of the stuff you guys see in guys is going to be what's going to be put in there in the text wise. You guys see the blanks in those guides and those questions. The blanks will be answers. There's an answer key. You'll get asked that question. Sometimes it'll be truth or false, or it'll be like multiple. It's always gonna be like multiple choice. We're never gonna, because it's not that system, so it's always gonna be multiple choice, and the answer will always be there. But you guys will every module will end with 3 questions, and every track will end with 10. And that's how you guys, if you guys are lending and you guys are in the virtual system or you're brokering, you guys can see the people that are just borrowers and they're signed up in the virtual system. You'll be able to see the people who are doing the work. And that comes down to experience and education. So that is the website, Lightspeed VT. You guys can check it out. Grant Cardone uses it. And I do this in every session so you guys can see it, because it's kind of cool. Completely different industry. It's called Storm Ventures Group. Many people know it. Like I said, I talked about earlier at my construction company. Anthony Domenico is a guy. He runs this group. He was a big time, very successful roofing and restoration company owner. He started a company called SVG. They have SVG University. You can go to their website. If you look at the 2 areas you need to look at is SVG University and the contractor store. That's everything. It's going to be set up a lot similar to that. And I was paying $1,000 a month to have 10 people in there, including myself. I had my sales manager, my production manager. I had like an office person. I had 5 or 6 salespeople, and they were. I could see them answer the questions. The contractor store is going to be the same, and you guys have free access to everything for life. If you're an associate, if you're listening, you want to go in the associate program, you can go look at that store and see what they offer and what the price is, because our prices aren't going to be any different. You can go get the whole document and contract package you need, branded with your logo, with your name on it. So that's what I'm going to start building in September all the way through December, ready to launch in January for associates. And then, like I said, if you just EMD gap and transaction, you'll get a 90-day or 60-day trial. But everybody that's an associate, everybody becomes an associate, will get that for life. Never have to pay a penny for it. It'll take a year. We're also going to do 33% revenue split. The actual document I posted it in, there's 4 or 5 documents that are posted in files that go over PMA University. You'll see the PMA University, but I posted one last week that's relevant, that has the numbers in it. It shows us that we're projecting to hit $9 million revenue by year 3. I think we'll be able to hit it within year 2. We're going to basically do 33% revenue split. So all of the people that come in that want to be facilitators and ambassadors, facilitators are like the teachers, instructors, ambassadors like the hosts, bring people in, recruit them, bring them in. You guys, there's going to be 2 levels. You can do both. You can double dip. You will be able, and you'll actually, if you want to do your own courses, you'll also be able to do your own courses, and then we'll just take a small cut for hosting it on the system. But if people want to do their own courses, that's awesome. A lot of people want to start, doing things. So we're going to do revenue split. I'm all about this whole group making money. That's what you guys are here for. You want to build your income, cash flow, wealth, and your assets. Those 4 things. And you want to get your time back, and you'll have a good time. So with that, guys, I'm going to turn off the recording. I thank everybody for watching tonight. I apologize for the technical issues. Seems like